Did you ever wonder how fig trees in pots or in the ground go from bare sticks to a full tree of absolutely beautiful fruits? Well, in today's video, I'm going to take you through the entire cycle of a fig tree. When they wake up, to how to prune them, to how to fertilize them. So stick around and let's get into today's video. So behind me, I've got the fig tree, and it is time for me just to prune it. I'm not going to be here for a while, so I'm just scared that while I'm away, the fig tree starts to wake up. So I'm just going to show you exactly how we actually maintain this fig tree, because they don't grow from the old branches. And let me quickly explain what I mean. Okay, so I've just pruned this branch over here because it was literally coming out really far out, and figs will not grow back in spring on old branches. It will only shoot out from the side, and that's where it will fruit from. So fruit will not ever bear on the old branches, and that is why you need to give it quite a hard prune back. And this really performed very well last year, so I'm going to show you why I cut it over here. So if you can see, I said to you that a fruit won't grow from the old branch. That's how long this branch was, and I cut it over there so that the nodes on the sides will start growing the new branches. And then if you see over there, this note is facing this way, so it should grow this way. I've got a note over there, it will grow that way. And it doesn't mean that by all the nodes a branch will grow. It might only grow on one node or all of the nodes, but the direction is what is mainly important here. If I had a branch growing downwards, I would obviously cut that off and see if the energy can be pushed somewhere else. But I cut it over here because I want a new branch out here and over here, or on top here. So you can see that this is quite a nice small dwarf variety, and this branch is coming out a little bit too far out. So if I look at the nodes, I see that there's one that's growing here. That's not going to benefit me if a branch comes out this way. This one might be great, that one definitely, and then this one will be great if something came up here. So what I'm going to do is, that is where I am going to cut it. What we can do is that you could save all your branches, stick it in soil, and you would have 2 new fig plants there. But I'm not going to be doing that. I'm pretty happy with my fig plants. I've got 2, and I'm going to do the same here. I'm just going to chop it here. Hopefully this note, a branch will grow there. And that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go around checking that out. Over here, I think might just trim it slightly. The same with this, might trim it slightly. The branches at the bottom, I really do not want things growing here. This is an awful branch, so that whole thing comes off. There's 2 over here, they're way too close, so I'm going to cut maybe this one off. Already it looks very nice. So that is how you would go about pruning your fig trees.
Much later.
Just made a pit stop at the fig tree. I did a very heavy prune on the fig tree, but I do see some life here. You see over there, this is going to be a new branch. So that was a node, and this will be a new branch coming out that way. And that's what I was trying to do by cutting the branches. So here's another example. I cut this off because it was quite long, and it's now forced the energy to concentrate on the nodes below, and it's now focused on this one. I'll have a whole new branch growing from this node. And I've explained in previous videos that fig trees will not produce fruit off the old branches. That is why you'll see that a lot of people do hard prunes on their fig trees. So in order to get figs and for it to not grow and have the energy on the old branches, you cut it down, and then your nodes will produce these new branches, and these branches will obviously produce the new fruits. So that's exciting. I see another one here that's emerging. Nice example here. So you can see that I cut the branch here, if it focuses, and there is some notes there. So focus. Okay, so there's 1, 2 and 3. So the method is working, and if you see that a node below starts growing, and obviously this is going to go down, I would cut that off so it doesn't focus on that branch, and it could maybe try and push out a branch here. I can already see signs on this fig tree. So there's a new growth there, and I see something over here as well, and that's on this specific fig tree. I see some new growth there. Let me try and zoom in. There you go. So in the next week or two we should see more signs of little buds like that. It'll be all the leaves trying to push out. I see one wanting to push out there, and I'm hoping that by the way I've cut this, that new branches start growing outwards. Like this is where I want to see growth.
Much later.
Another week has passed. You can see the fig tree has finally woken up. You got these beautiful little leaves just pushing out. You can see some new ones here, and this is looking absolutely gorgeous. So what's going to happen is we're going to get a branch that side, another one shooting there, a few here, and that is perfect because it's how I've cut it and how I want it to grow. So we'll just wait until these guys get a little bit bigger, but the fig tree has woken up. I'm going to come to the next fig tree. Same variety, I think. Wasn't sure. It was gifted to us, and you can see that this one's also woken up. So you can see where I've cut it, it will start growing out that way. Some nice new growth here, so this will come upwards. I think there's one that's popping out there, a few on the sides. Hasn't really shown, but you can see it's new. Some over there. Come to this side.
Much later.
It's been quite a while now, and you can see a perfect example here. So you can see that we actually cut it here, and you can see the new growth that came out from that node, and it's just going to shoot up, making another branch. So by the end of the season, this piece will then go the same color as this bark. So let's go down here and show you some more examples. You can see that we cut it there, and there was a note there, and I was hoping that another branch would come out there, which it did. On this note that was facing this way, another branch will be coming out there, and that was the whole idea, to actually cut it so no energy starts coming up that branch. It stops it right here, and the focus can now just be on growing through these notes. If you go around here, you can see there's one down here, and there's another note there, and nothing's coming out there as yet. I do see a little sign there. Come across this way. That might also be another branch, but these are perfect examples of when you cut it, where the new growth should start coming out. Okay, we're going to talk about the fertilizing of the fruit trees. So after you've given it a nice hard prune, in the late winter, I normally would give it some tea worm fertilizer. And then when it wakes up and that, I would give it a soil change. So just add some compost, topsoil, some slow releasing fertilizer to the soil that is already there, and then just mulch it with some bark chips or whatever method you guys mulch with. About 2 weeks after that, I would then give it another dose of liquid fertilizer, and in this case I give it a multi-boost. So this is a multi-boost fertilizer, and it just really helps. This just helps when it's time for the fruits to actually form and develop. So that is awesome. How we do it is maybe a different method to how you do it, but this is how we do it.
Much later.
Yeah, just an update on the fig tree, and it is absolutely looking gorgeous. You see over here, this is the old trunk, and gave it a nice prune. You can see the new growth from there, and that's exactly what I wanted to happen, is that by the nodes, I wanted it to all come out that way. You can see over there, I cut it there, started growing from the top, which is awesome. I didn't actually cut this at all, so it just started growing, but from the sides it's grown. It is pushing out some really nice new branches out there. This is where the fruits are all going to start bearing on the new growth here, and then when the season's over, this will go brown like this, and we will then give it another hard prune. Come to this fig tree, and you can see how gorgeous this one's looking. So this one was actually sticking out quite a lot, and gave it a nice hard prune. I cut it over here because I saw a node, these two nodes, and it's doing exactly what I wanted it to do. The new branches are coming out that way, and instead of coming outwards, it's now going upwards, and it's happened to nearly all of the cuts that I've done. So that is how you prune a fig tree and teach it to grow. So let me try and explain to you and recap how figs are developed on the tree. It's not like your normal fruit tree where you have a bud that opens into a flower and gets pollinated by bees and insects, and then your fruit develops. On a fig tree, you have something called a signomium, which is a hollow structure where it's filled with flowers on the inside, and a wasp will come and sting it, and will basically sting the flowers on the inside. These flowers will then slowly start swelling up, and that is how your fruit is developed. So it's like the reverse of a normal flower on a fruit tree, the flowers on the inside coming out. So that was the whole cycle of my fig trees, from when they were totally bare in winter to how we actually prep them so that when they woke up in late winter, they would actually soak up all these nutrients, to actually giving them a hard prune, learning how they will grow thereafter, and then watching them develop into these magnificent plants that is going to soon bear fruit. So go grab yourself a fig tree or maybe two, and don't forget that you don't need a big garden to grow fig trees. You can put them in containers, in pots, and it will grow absolutely amazing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and don't forget to give it a like, subscribe. We will definitely see you guys all in the next video.